I don't have to get to practice. They'll start without me. They want to get to practice because they have only a certain window. So
I guess this first week, what would you say on both sides of the ball you've been most pleased with for improvements?
I think this week's been excellent. I think they've all worked hard. I mean, we're not anywhere near to where we need to be. Um, I think when you start looking at like the constructability of a team, it takes pieces. It takes parts, it takes time. But I mean, I've been really, really pleased this week with the effort and attitude every single day, and they're trying to get better. They like football. They like to practice, so it's a clear step in the right direction.
How's the health of the team through the first week?
Yeah, we unfortunately had Mac happen day one. We had a couple. We've had a couple kids from the summer lingering soft tissue. Quentin Ives, went down with some soft tissue day one. I think I mentioned that. I don't know if I did or did. I thought I did that. So he's still not back. Anybody else? Turner's getting closer and closer to being back. I think I told Preston Tamua he had like an illness, a sickness, and so it's not an injury, just working his way back. He's getting closer to being back. So I think when you look out there, this is a practice for us tonight. So we'll have the pit, during practice, everyone works for us. Long-term surgical guys go do rehab and lift. Guys who are close to being out, in and out, they're kind of in and out of the pit, the physical training. So you'll see some guys in there. But I think for the most part, in terms of long-term, we feel pretty good about everybody.
Hey, Coach, is there a message that you give the team before kind of like practice like this with fans in the stands and cameras on?
Yeah, I'd like them to be very appreciative of all the people that came out here today. I'd like them to be very appreciative to the Fan Fest. I'd like them to be very appreciative of all the people that came out there. But this isn't like last year. This was a little different. This was a different schedule. So this was kind of me getting on the mic, and it was kind of a fun thing. There's nothing. This is work tonight, right? We're in full. This is our first day in full pads. In the NCAA right now, you get 1 day of full pads in the acclimation, and then you get 8 more times in full pads before the first game. Just think about that. You get 9 times to be in full pad. 9 times you can actually physically tackle someone before the first game. If you want to know why early season football sometimes looks pretty sloppy, that's why. And so we don't have any time to waste. And so, I'd like them to, entertain the crowd with their effort, with their physicality. So I haven't really said very much. To me, we have so much work to get done, and this is like a really business-oriented team. So, I want them. I want them to have fun. I want them to dap people up at the end and all that. But we just have to get better at football while we're out there. As important to me, and the fans are unbelievably important to me. That stadium's very important to me, and winning home field. And so it'll be the first time under lights in Memorial Stadium. So I expect us to play to a certain standard when we're in there.
What's the outlook on Demitrius Bell? Is he still coming back from the same thing that he had in the spring a couple years ago?
Yeah. So got hurt in the spring game 2 years ago, or a year. I guess it'd be a year and whatever now. He went up to Chicago, saw a specialist this past week, and so he'll be back here soon. When I say soon, in the first part of the year. It's just the after effects, pain tolerance, different things like that. So I don't know enough to get too far into specifics, other than every time we've gotten closer, he's almost back. It's just a little bit of a setback, and so the great thing about our doctors, Dr. Mathiasen. Who's I guess the head team doctor now in terms of, I don't know the right words, but and then Dr. Tao and all the people that work with us, they're willing to reach out and let him go see whoever he has to see across the world, really. So really, really positive outlook though. So expect him to be back hopefully at some point in the first part of the season.
How's Elijah Pritchett done at left tackle or tackle from camp this far? What do you want to see?
Yeah. Elijah's done a really nice job. He's got a tremendous battle on his hands. We have battles at all the positions, and football is football. Football athletes. We talk about training. It's really divided up into 3 parts. It's the physical, it's the psychological, it's the technical and tactical. And so part of it for him is he's still working on all the newness of it. This is not some college spread offense. We do all the things that we do. I did when I was at the Giants. Donnie did when he was at the Bears. Just high-level things for which is why we believe we're preparing guys to the next level. And so it's just about him continuing to get comfortable with all those things. And I really like where he's at. I like where the whole line's at. And it's just we have a lot of competition. We're able to rotate guys through. rotate guys and sort of see who grows the most. Really, the first week is I don't pay attention to things in the first week as much as I watch growth. It's really the second week, which is like the grind week, and then the third week, which is I think what separates people. Who can have the competitive stamina. So we'll see where everybody's at. Weeks 2 and 3.
I talked in the winter about having a top 53, and then the roster expanded over the summer because of the settlement. Does that stay? Do you still look for that group, and is it defined, whatever that number is? Is it something that's defined within the organization where players who are on the edge or within the group know that they're there, like similar to what you have in the NFL?
Yeah, I think not necessarily. I think when we talked about the top 53, we were talking about a lot of it was really about in terms of when you look at a lot of teams and how many people they actually played, in terms of offense and defense, like college football playoff teams, they played. It's usually about 36 guys that play on offense and defense for them, which kind of equates to the NFL. So really, when you start talking about revenue sharing and money and all, we start. If you want to reward performance, you're rewarding people who are kind of in that top 53 or have proven that they've been in that and can play at the level they need to. We always talk about a second 53 because sometimes you have guys that they're just young, they're 17, 18, 19, right? They're just not there yet, but they're coming up. So I think that's really more of a me, Pat thing. For the rest of the guys, we have 74 guys that we can travel. But for the coaches, I want the coaches developing every single guy because, I actually had this conversation today, Mitch. I told them you're in the NFL and it's week 15 and the guy gets hurt. You bring in guys off the street and you work them out. Well, those guys for us, they're going to step up in week 11, 10, 12. We plan on playing a lot of games, right? So they're on our roster. They might be right now. They might be running with the 3s or the 4s tonight, but there's going to be a time where, kind of like Gunnar did last year. He went from 3rd to 1, kind of overnight. And so we have to develop all of those guys. So I don't talk to the coaches about that. I think the players kind of have a good feel, but I tell the guys in the first week, don't spend a lot of time worrying about where you are, and it's kind of like a stoic thing, and not everyone, not everyone's really, sees it this way. But I want them to be resilient enough where they're not even paying attention to where they are. They're saying to themselves, am I becoming a great player? We're smart enough as coaches to find a way to get great players on the field. So don't worry about am I better than this guy. Worry about am I a great player. If I'm a great player, we'll get both you guys on the field. So we don't talk a ton about that with the guys. I do talk a lot about the NFL process. Our older guys, I've challenged our seniors, to have that white belt mentality as they talk about, and just act like a newbie and try to take it as much as possible, buy into being great on special teams and all the different things they'll have to do at the next level. So, but yeah, it's more of an internal thing maybe with Pat and I as we talk about constructing the roster.
John Butler mentioned on the BTN show liking how those transfer additions have added at each level, really, at the defense. Have those guys really blended in and boosted the competition sort of like you hoped they would?
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, and you'll think I don't even think anymore about who's the transfer. They're all on our team, So I guess that would be Dasan, Marshall, Watson, Mar. Yeah, those guys. Those guys the thing with those guys is they walked in from day one and they were we were really diligent this year about. I don't want to bring anyone in here who complains about having to eat in the training table. I didn't want to bring anyone in here. I already fixed that problem. I don't want to bring anybody who complains about practice. Now it's the other way. I end practice on Thursday was a shorter practice, I think. Thursday and Dylan's yelling at me get another rack. I'm first of all, he's a quarterback. You're not hitting anybody. But they're all let's get another rack. And Dylan's walked off. He goes. He always makes fun of me. He's yeah, we like practice. So I want guys who like practice. So they've brought that. The Suns brought that, right? Not that they brought it to a team that didn't have it. They've just assimilated into a bunch of guys who love practice. And so, there's not a deal where you're well, that guy's a transfer. That guy's been one of us for a long time. It's very much we're kind of all in it together. So it's a really healthy thing. They have brought talent, though. I'll say this about Marshall. I don't get asked a lot of questions about this guy's as professional as could be. He practices and behaves like a pro. He doesn't say a lot. He's a really good football player. He's going to play really well for us. I respect the heck out of him as just the competitor professional that he is. I don't really want to get out there on time, so I'll go as long as they want. I'm gonna I watch Stretch.
Dasan. I know a big thing to him was finding a home after he kind of been moved around throughout his college career. Have you liked how that's gone or so far with him at his spot, sort of settling into a particular position?
Yeah, because I think the thing with us is we put people at spots, but yet we believe in we try to be really meticulous in terms of like, hey, where are the ways in which we can move them around? I mean, it's cliche to say positionless player, but like, we like those types of players. And the one thing I've asked for the last 3 years, I got it a little bit last year, and I'm getting it way more this year. And part of it's like the learning process. It's, I mean, Tony wanted to do it, but John really wants to do it. He wanted to do it, and then John's just we're a little more advanced in terms of it's year 3. Is getting. I mean, we got a couple pass rushers at Jack. Let's put them all on the field. Like, let's not say only one guy can go. And so, I think Dasan brings great burst, explosiveness, speed, power. He's really improved his physical. Like when you see him, he looks great. So I think he's found a home. Yet we can still utilize his versatility to, move around and attack protection. So I like everything that he brings. Willis is one of those guys who, when he gets out there, he always produces. And I would not sleep on Jordan Ochoa. Like, he is coming on. And he has been released since the bowl game, right? So, bowl practice. I didn't say that. I think before that, but like in bowl practice, I think we played him a lot in the bowl. So, I think we have a lot of guys at that position. And there's others. I think we have a lot of guys at the position, but so we can utilize multiple of those guys.
Does the team move off campus tonight then or tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning, yeah. Tomorrow after we have tomorrow's an off day. On off days, you can do like 2 hours worth of stuff. So we'll do 2 hours, then we offer recovery. Our guys they've been taking advantage of that, but yeah, then they're done.
How's it going, though? Just having-
Yeah, I mean, the O-line came to me the other night, and they were like, hey, meetings go till 9. Like, we've been playing cards and some board games and stuff. Can we get done at 8:30? And so we take a test every night. I said, well, everybody who scores a 90 or 100 can get done at 8:30. And I said, now listen, I'll do this. If you guys are all on your phones in your rooms, I'm not doing it. And Gus, texts me every night at curfew because Gus is in the dorms with him, Big Gus, and he was like, he sent me a picture, and there was just guys everywhere playing cards. There's a couple of these Lindenmeyer, these guys play this one board game they all like. So there's been a really good, I think, camaraderie built into it, and a really good sense of brotherhood that we're trying to develop. So I haven't had anybody complain to me about it. I haven't had anybody, guys say anything to me about it. So it seems like it's gone really, really well. So it's probably what we wanted.
A couple of those newcomers, Justin Rhett, Jamir, Conn, Conn this spring. What have you seen from those two, and how do they kind of fit into John Butler's defense?
Yeah, I mean, John likes to play a lot with a nickel, and Jamir, Malcolm, Rio, a bunch of those guys, can play the nickel. They have coverage skills and they're physical. Rhett's a big, powerful, physical guy, really smart, good football player. I've been nothing but pleased with him since he's gotten here. And sometimes John goes dime, Justin goes in the game, Deshaun moves positions, another guy comes out. So we have a lot of guys. Both those guys are trending in the right direction. Jamir was someone that caught everyone's eye in the winter with his effort. I go back to the 4 things I talked about. His psychological, his mindset is elite. He's just a warrior. He's about all the work. Some guys you give them something. Just in life, some people you give something to do and it's a threat. Some guys it's a challenge. It's always a challenge for him. It's never punishment. He always wants to be challenged, and so I'm anxious to see him throughout the course of camp. I'm anxious to see him, continue to show what he can do, and so. I think both those guys have. Well, I know Justin's definitely going to help us, and I think Jamir has a real chance to show us he can help us. You guys are getting easy. Jeez. Thank you, guys. Good to see you.